Good morning. This is John Fallon with Senior Enrollment Solutions. You are tuned into week number 21 of our 22-week Roadmap to Success 2022. We are discussing phone skills, communications, and really preparing for your success. That's really where it all starts, right? Even if you meet someone, grassroots events, or you meet someone at a grocery store or whatever it is, and they approach you because you're asked me about my Medicare pin on or t-shirt or whatever it may be, we still need to communicate with most consumers over the phone. Even if you're a belly-to-belly agent, you need to have good phone skills. So it's September 16th, 2022. We have 15 days left until AEP. Once again, I'm John Fallon with Senior Enrollment Solutions. You are tuned in for Preparing for Success Telephonic Skills. So it's 10 o'clock. Without further ado, we're going to begin our webinar. To stay punctual, if you missed last week's webinar or any of the previous 21 weeks, will all be on YouTube. They're all on the SES Agent YouTube channel. So certainly tune in if you feel as though you missed something or need to review, or you simply missed the webinar. So sorry, I'm a little hoarse. We had the Madahu event yesterday, and there was a little too much screaming, a little too much everything, actually. So forgive me once again as my voice doesn't sound the best today. So 22-week roadmap to success. Just a quick disclaimer. Obviously, those that have been on for the last 21 weeks, I am assuming from the feedback that we're receiving that you are going to have an outstanding annual enrollment period and beyond, right? To build that book of business and to really continue to move forward with your education and your sales. We're going to review topics. I'm always going to bring you back to Sales 101. We're going to provide additional time from 11 to 12 Eastern Standard Time. We'll provide additional time for questions and answers in this chat room or chat box. If you do miss the chat box, you have additional questions, we're here 24/7 to support you. So text us, phone us, email us, whatever we can do to get your questions answered. We will do our best to get your questions answered or get the materials or information in your hands. Request additional topics, right? So we are towards the end of the 21 week or 22 week as we're in 2020 or the 21 week roadmap to success. If you do have additional topics, we can cover those on our last roadmap to success, or you can once again phone, text, or email us. So let's review week 20 for a moment and understand that sales is a game, right? It doesn't matter the emotional side to it. It's just a numbers game. If you take 1,000 consumers that you've met and 400 can purchase and 50 will qualify or whatever it may be, I don't care how you crunch those numbers. Make sure that you are crunching the numbers, that you're looking at realistic stats, you're looking at realistic rate of return, and you understand that if you post something on your Facebook or your LinkedIn, or right, what are the numbers that are coming out of this? It is always easier. As we discussed last week, you need to say no. You need to be able to have your family, yourself, your work to be balanced. It all needs to really try to stay on a schedule. So I understand you're going to have life interruptions, but we need to do our best to keep our family on a schedule and our work on a schedule, and to be able to work when we need to work and get things done at a later date or a later time, right? So those work hours are crucial, especially as we start approaching AEP, that we need to be prepared, ready, on, and to put in a true work day will create that true income that we're all looking for. We need to hold ourselves accountable, right? On a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis, it is imperative for growing your business. We have 15 days till AEP. And there's agents that haven't completed their AHIP, let alone their certifications, let alone have come up with a marketing strategy of what they're doing this AEP. Stop floundering out there if you're floundering. We have to get you on some kind of regiment to know what your production is, not business production, life production. What are you doing to produce the business production, right? That's the most important thing out of all of this. So last week, we created an AEP calendar, and we're going to stick to it. So from October 15th until December 7th, you should have your life pretty much planned out. I do not go to the dentist. I do not go to the doctor. I do not have annual checkups. I do not during that time, because that time is so crucial when you have this very small window to be able to produce business, right? Make hay while the sun shines. The sun is about to get as bright as humanly possible. And we all understand the rest of the year, we basically live in Alaska, right? The sun kind of gets behind the earth and it's dark for many, many months. Well, I'm telling you, the sun's about to rise, and you better have your suntan or your sunscreen ready, your sunglasses, your straw hat, your beach chair, your towel. Get yourself prepared for this AEP with 15 days left. Create or personalize what your point scale, if that seems to help you or hold you accountable. Create a point scale, right? That it's 5 points to put up business cards at Panera Bread. It's 10 points to what will provide you examples, but that helps hold me accountable and for me to understand, what did I do this week? What did I do last week? And is it going to progress my business forward, or was last week kind of a slough week? Work through and better understand the psychology of the close, right? By downloading, purchasing, listening to, find someone's sales CDs, and there's a ton of them out there. Not necessarily Medicare sales, but sales. That's what we're in, right? We sell a product. Unfortunately, we sell an intangible product, and that makes our sales even that much harder, right? We're not selling someone a cup of coffee that they can take with them and hold dear, right? All they get from us is this piece of plastic that goes in their billfold. So it's really important to make certain that we understand and can really get through the sales process. And that's what we're starting with today, is making certain that you have your marketing together. And once those leads come in, once that grassroots event starts, or those phone calls we need to make back to someone, that we know that we're okay telephonically, psychologically to get through that call. So important. There is no time to waste. You can hear my voice is rough. I've had a few pretty rough days. We had Madahu yesterday here in Detroit. There was a lot of screaming and yeah. But I need to make sure that I'm okay, that I'm healthy, that I'm rested, and I am ready to go when that dinner bell rings. Every sale that you make today, you will have 2 more lined up in 18 months. This is an 18-month industry. Whatever I do today, I'm going to get gratified by in 18 months. What do I mean by that? Well, if you write someone that's turning 65 today, because they're baby boomers, because the reality is they have 2 to 3 other siblings, right? Do you know how many children were born during that decade? Typically it was like 4 or more. I don't have the stats on that, so don't quote me, but I'm assuming if we think back or think about our grandparents or that age bracket, most of them have 2, 3, 4 siblings. So they're all within that same, call it year and a half, 2 year, right? Depending on how quickly or closely they were born together. But I'm going to be able to write a sibling and most likely a spouse as well. Most of us find others that are within 2 years apart, roughly. And in doing so, if Joyce is turning 65 now, either her husband turned 65 2 years ago or 2 years ahead. But either way, now they get this household discount, right? Now I've built trust in Joyce, who may be the decision maker, and her husband just went online and phoned someone or whatever the case may be, right? So there is no time for me to waste, because I have to make a sale today because it affects me 18 months down the road. Every sale I make today, I can advertise for more future sales. I have this income coming in that now I get to put back into marketing to grow the business even further, right? As we discussed on the last webinar, for every dollar you put into marketing, you should be obtaining $2.20 back. Dollar in, 220 back, dollar in, 220 back. Obviously, when we start talking about hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars, we start looking at more of a growth projective. And if you're not there yet, that's perfectly fine. We'll talk about how we can market for less expensive via social media, via grassroots events, Kroger stores, Beaumont locations, etc. But if you grasp that, though, it's the whole bird in a hand is better than two in the bush, right? I need that bird in hand so I can continue to put money into marketing and advertising, because I know that's going to pay off a few months later, which is then going to pay off even further 18 months down the road. Every sale I make today, I begin earning renewals next year. So my little kitty that continues to grow with renewal business continues because I'm making those sales every day. Every sale I make today allows me the right to ask for another. That is so, so important. I've built the trust with someone today, and they're going to refer me someone else tomorrow because that relationship is there. That psychology worked. And I get to ask them now, because I'm a professional and I've done the right thing, I get to ask them for a referral, who then they're going to send to me, and I'm going to write that person the following day, right? So that whole referral sale just continues while you add your additional marketing on. But you have to make that sale today in order to ask for the referral that you're going to sell tomorrow. Every appointment brings me closer to the referral sprawl. There is a referral sprawl that ends up happening. And you have to increase, say, your batting average, your closing ratio. You have to get out in the community to be able to increase that referral sprawl. There is a sprawl that takes place. I sold someone that went into the community center with a stack of my cards, passed them out, and the sales that came out of that was a sprawl. It wasn't one referral, it was a group of referrals. I helped a client that went into a cardiologist's office. The cardiologist got a stack of my cards. The cardiologist passes out my cards to everyone that asks questions about their health insurance. That's a referral sprawl. When you're able to obtain multiple referrals from the same source, the problem is you never know who that source may be or who that sale is until you build that trust, until you build that relationship with that consumer. You have no idea what they're capable of or who they know or how big their following on TikTok is. You have no idea who this person is that could pass you dozens or hundreds of people over the course of a year or the course of your career if you treat that individual the right way and they have the ability to market with you or for you. Let's prepare for success. 15 days left till AEP, right? We should have our consumer knowledge together, meaning we know who we're marketing to, how we're marketing to them, who our current book of business is, have it laid out on an Excel, ready to have your AEP reminder postcards or letters going out to them. We should have that consumer marketing approach taken care of, because your mailer pieces really need to go out in the next week's time to land on or around October 1st. We need to have our product knowledge together. If you have any questions with the difference of an HMO or an HMO POS, a D-SNP or a C-SNP, a carrier to another carrier, what carriers are in your county, what the carriers offer, check out the 2023 maps for your particular state that we create for you that show all the different carriers in all the different counties. Super important that you understand, okay, as I walk into this, what am I walking into? If I'm going to go do a grassroots event in a county that's just north of me, but it's only 10 miles away, what carriers am I really talking about? So recognize that consumer and product knowledge, but the product knowledge then goes even deeper into, are you able and comfortable to write these consumers telephonically or online over the phone, right, via email or a Zoom meeting or through a dial pad, right? You have that video conference, which is HIPAA secure through dial pad. So keep that in mind, right? I would get off of Zoom. I would get off of Get Response. I'd get off those platforms immediately and start getting comfortable with that knowledge as well. Being able to accept an application. Do you know what the apps look like? I'm assuming that most of us don't. That's okay. We just got our shipments in the last 48 hours. But some of them have barcodes. Some of them have numbers that if you do sit down with someone or you mail out the app, you have to make certain that you're getting the entire application back, right? But that app knowledge, do you have your Think Agent downloaded, your Ascend downloaded? Do you have a rate number? Do you have your PURL set up? Are you ready to begin conducting business? Now, granted, let's all keep this in mind that we cannot accept an application until after October 15th, right? So although we're getting our knowledge together now, it's going to allow us that preparation that on the 15th, we're not stumbling. Most of these platforms have what they call a sandbox or like a trial, right, area to go into where you can submit an application, but you're not necessarily submitting the application. It's not as stringent with asking for the Medicare claim number and date of birth and Part B effective, et cetera, right? Get into these applications and make certain that on October 15th, you have a month before you begin collecting applications, that you are good to go. So first and foremost, we got to get this consumer knowledge together. Who are we marketing to? Are we marketing to those that are aging in? Are we marketing to the higher income, lower income? What county are we marketing to? How are we marketing to them to obtain the highest rate of return? What are we going to offer them in that product knowledge? And then can we close these individuals right now? Where to go to find the information? Obviously, I begin with the SES agent portal, and I begin with the SES text line and get that text line saved in your phone. So that way, if you are unable to find whatever you're looking for, we're just a text away. So on your mobile device or through dial pad, you can then text agent services and we can reply back to you with whatever materials, whatever information that you feel as though you might be missing. After October 1st, I would also begin to review and read through the evidence of coverage. That's going to be posted on every carrier's website. You need to get in there and you need to read the fine print specifically on these dental plans. I know many of us have sat through, gone to whatever, right? Webinars, rollouts. These carriers will boast at how amazing their dental is, but they're never going to discuss the downfalls, right? They just discuss the rose. They don't get into the thorns. That's for us to figure out. It's for us to figure out before we go sell this product to a consumer, and the consumer doesn't realize it because we don't realize, because we're not experts, because we don't have our product knowledge together, that they don't cover crowns, bridges, in the last 3 teeth of your mouth, right? Or whatever it may be. But there are caveats to, I would call all these plans, even though some of them just stood in front of you and said, no, 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 it's first dollar coverage. We cover it all, right? Don't go there with your consumer. If it's too good to be true from the carrier, it's too good to be true. So you need to read what the reps may have not read yet or received yet after October 1st. Because otherwise, I'm telling you, you're going to have complaints. You're going to have really pissed off consumers because you're not knowledgeable enough about the products that you're offering. Read, understand your materials. If you have not read the Medicare and U book yet, it's 132 pages of some dry reading, but I need you to get in there and I need you to read the Choosing a Medigap Guide and the Medicare and U book. Those are 2 government pieces that you should be reading on an annual basis. and your client should be reading on an annual basis, but we all know that they're not, right? You can grab these off of the SES agent portal, or if you want just a PDF, we'll send you a PDF. If you want to order them, you're more than welcome. We'll help you get them ordered to the CMS website. But I need you to know and review what your consumers are seeing and reviewing. And then we get to role play. What? Limited coverage implants. Role playing. If we're role playing with our children, with our nieces or nephews, I would suggest you go find someone that's 13, 14 years of age, that have a little bit of patience, and I would suggest you role play with them. If you have parents that are of that age, I would suggest that you role play with them. It is really, really important that you continue to role play and better your business, because they're going to ask you questions that you didn't even you thought you covered, but you may have covered it in a confusing way. If you confuse a 14-year-old, you're going to confuse a senior, because they both have about the same knowledge of Medicare, right? About the same attention span. So keep it simple and go find someone, go pay for a McDonald's or whatever, and sit down with a child. Don't kidnap, nothing stupid like that, right? Like, just go find a person to role play with. They will critique you. You can critique yourself, and you will continue to better those sales. I'm telling you, practice does make perfect. It's all about the verbiage. It's how you get it conveyed to someone and how you make them feel through this process, which we'll talk further here in a moment. But you have to practice, 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 practice. Someone has to be throwing you stalls, objections, so you can work on getting around those and being able to get into the carrier apps and be able to conduct your business in a professional fashion. Always stay calm. You know way more than any senior does. And more importantly, you're ethical, you're honorable, you're moral, and you're going to do what's right for them, as opposed to them calling someone off the TV and getting sold one or two plans. So really important that you take a deep breath, you stay calm. Carrier websites are going to go down. Medicare's website's going to go down, right? Your internet's going to go out. Your power's going to go out. We're going to have a rough AEP. It is what it is. It's always a rough AEP. So take a deep breath, know that you're going to get through it, and know that you're here to truly help that consumer, and they will feel and hear it in your inflection and in your voice that everything's going to be okay. I finally found my agent. Be the professional that your clients expect. They expect a professional. Know how to efficiently process online applications. Know your market, your networks, your heat maps, and once again, your plan specifics. If you're using paper applications, which is totally fine, right? If you're a belly-to-belly agent and you enjoy milk crates in your trunk, totally great, right? We'll support you. But be neat. Someone else has to read this data and input it for you, whether or not it's SES scrubbing the app and then uploading it to the carrier, or whether or not it's the carrier receiving this fax. Understand that your consumers are going to receive the app too. They receive a finalized copy of their insurance paperwork, right? And if they flip through it when they get it in the mail and they look at how terrible your grammar, your spelling, right? It's got 3 different color ink on there because you did some of it and then we helped correct it and put your writing number down or what have you. They see all of this. Be professional and be neat. Make sure that the address is actually going to be correct, because otherwise you're going to get phone calls. I didn't get my cards. I didn't get my paperwork. Where's my stuff? And you're like, I don't know, Joyce, I'm too busy to track this down right now. My bad, because I wrote it wrong, or I wrote it in a manner in which someone couldn't decipher it. Carriers and consumers receive completed documents, right? They need to be complete. You need to make sure you have all your writing numbers, You need to know how the application looks. They're all pretty much the same. Some are 3 pages, some are 4 pages. We know that we need to get the scope of appointment and have it attached to the app too. Know your compliant sales and marketing practices. As I mentioned on almost every meeting and call that I have, you are in a CYA industry. We just heard from Nahu yesterday, the vice president of whoever that came in from Washington, discussing Congress, discussing CMS, discussing the call recording, discussing being and what would happen if you aren't compliant. You have to make certain that you are doing the right thing, which we all expect you to. So does the consumer, right? I think everyone in this industry is pretty honorable, but we need to make sure that your T's are crossed, your I's are dotted, that if something does happen called human error, that you're not going to be in a situation where we're being kicked off from that carrier, or we lose our license or whatever it may be. You need to keep detailed records. I cannot emphasize the importance of this. What meds did they take? When did we speak to them? All of that becomes so important that you're using some kind of CRM. You're throwing your people into Dialpad. You're throwing your people into whatever free CRM, Excel spreadsheet. I don't care how you're doing this. Make sure it's organized. Make sure that if you fell off a cliff tomorrow, someone else can read it and know where you left off with each one of those consumers. What disposition per se are they in? Do you have a follow-up? Do you have a calendar event? What's happening with those consumers? Because this is something that if you do have a complaint 8 years down the road, we're going to need to know, when did you talk to them? What was the conversation about? And what occurred in the meeting or the phone call? And now it's going to be a little easier because all the calls are going to be recorded, right? So at least you'll have your date and time stamp. But going through a Verizon or going through an AT&T cell phone bill from 8 years ago is very difficult for you to pull up the dates that you met and spoke and how long the conversation is with that consumer. So either be using a CRM, an Excel spreadsheet, or use your SES commission statement as well, which has all the policy numbers, etc. We send that out to you every month. So you should be able to add notes onto that Excel, but more importantly, or addresses or what have you, right? But more importantly, it allows for you to be able to just copy and paste and send out your Christmas cards. So let's talk about that, or holiday card. If you're sending out a holiday card, you need to make sure that in the next couple of weeks, you're getting your photo taken care of. You need to make sure that the card is together, that you know who you're using. Are you sending it out through send out cards or Vistaprint, or is your agency doing it for you? What are you doing with that reminder after AEP, that feel good that they found the right agent? If you have not gotten a family photo taken care of, please get that taken care of in the next, call it 2 to 3 weeks. JC Penney, middle of the woods with a photographer. It's just so important that you're sending out this additional reminder that, look, this is who I am again, and I'm helping you. So keep detailed records of everything that you're going through. So consumers want to know, do you have yourself together? Are you presentable, even if telephonic? Do you have an understanding of their needs and available plan options? Are you listening intently enough to really hear them? You're not just listening, you're hearing them on what their needs are. Do you have the ability to properly assist them? Someone comes up and says, I have this really unique situation or this really unique pre-existing condition. Do you know where to turn the underwriting guides for hospital indemnity, MedSup, whatever it is? Do you know how to properly assist that consumer? And more importantly, they want to know that you're going to follow through. They want the peace of mind that I got it taken care of. Whether or not it's just even a brief email to them saying, Joyce, thank you for letting me help you with your coverage. Here's your confirmation number with Aetna. Your current plan will be canceled as of January 1st or dissolve as of January 1st. If you need anything, I'm here for you. Here's my business cards. Here's my magnet. And then we're going to follow through again, right? We're going to send out another thank you card. We're going to send out our holiday card. We're going to phone them maybe after AEP to say, hey, everything okay? Did you order your OTC? Did you order your dental? Do you have your cards? You're good. Cool. Who else do you know that I can help? And that's where the referrals come from. It doesn't come from this immediate meeting at a food drive or a church or what have you, where you're writing someone in 3 minutes. You don't have a business card. They have no way of referring others to you. You're not sending out a thank you card or any other reminder to them. That follow through is so important. These consumers, many of them, have purchased from a telephonic call center agent. They can't get a hold of the agent ever again. I'll tell you how they end their call. They end the call saying, all right, Joyce, enjoy your policy. That's it. You have any questions, call the claims number on the back of your insurance card. It's slinging mud, right? They're all about the numbers game, and they obviously know the numbers game. That they're slinging enough mud that they're hoping enough people hang on to it the following year, right? That renewal business. The problem is there's no follow through with them. And the other problem is that once we get a hold of them a year later, they're questioning, are you still going to be here? Are you still going to be here? I haven't met you. The last person I talked to never followed through, never followed up. I can't get a hold of them. They don't even work in the industry anymore. They're back at Amazon. Like, are you going to be here? And that follow through is so crucial to building your business. Are you communicating in the manner the client wishes, right? So many consumers are still telephonic. I understand that. Some have really started moving into this text side of the business where they text their grandchildren. They're comfortable on an iPad. They're comfortable on a phone. They're on their child's or children's old phone, whatever it may be. How are they requesting that you communicate with them? When you buy goods and services, oftentimes you're asked, and I appreciate being asked, when I make my haircut appointment, how do you want us to confirm your appointment? Do you want us to phone you in the middle of the day? Do you want us to be another one of your emails that you really can't get to? Or do you just want us to text you real quick and say, hey, we got you for Thursday at 10 o'clock? This is really important as you move into AEP because you're going to be very, very busy. And the telephone game, hey, Joyce, missed your call me back. And then you're on your next call, right? Or you're out in an area that doesn't have cell phone service or what have you. And then, of course, Joyce is going to call you back at that time. Leave you a message. And then you're going to have to call Joyce back again. Hey, Joyce, it's 4:30. I'm trying to call you back. You must be at Golden Corral. And that telephone game towards the end of AEP, in my world, becomes unbearable. I cannot phone you 6, 8, 12, 14 times. I cannot do it. And you shouldn't have the time to be able to do it either. So understand how they're wanting you to communicate with them. Yes, texting through dial pad works like any other app, but even better. Are you able to mirror your clients? You're going to make phone calls and you need to really picture who you're phoning. You're going to be discussing or phoning someone who may be, for the most part, incapacitated, right? They're unable to get out of a chair. They're unable to walk. They're unable to, you may phone someone that at that moment in time, they may be inserting a catheter and they may be pretty grumpy about it and really grumpy with you. Don't take it personal, but can you mirror your clients? If someone's real soft on the phone, I'm real soft on the phone too. If someone's real loud and like up in your face, I'm back right up in your face too. Mirror your clients and do not be afraid to say, look, Robert, it seems like I caught you at a bad time. That's what I'm hearing. You don't want to talk to me. Seems like I caught you at a bad time. I'm going to phone you back tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Maybe that's a better time for you. Or when is a better time for you? Because we need to communicate. We need to talk. Are you providing too much information? This goes down to how many cans of worms are you opening during that conversation. You might open a can of worms that the consumer has no inkling of asking you about. But since you brought up hearing, and I'm 32 years old with great hearing, tell me more about it. Don't open the additional cans. Don't go through too much information. Keep it simple. Stay on topic of what you're trying to get accomplished while you're assuming the close. Are you able to provide this information with no confusion to the consumer? Once again, go find a 14-year-old. Can you sit down with them and explain Medicare to them and have them go, I get it. That sounds like a plan. Let's enroll. Or are they just sitting there absolutely confused? And you can make the assumption that they're confused because they're a child, or they're confused because my mom just will never get Medicare, right? But that's not the case. You're confusing them in your conversation. What is your after-sale communication, and how frequent is it? Are you sending out quarterly newsletters? Are you sending out thank you cards immediately after the sale? Are you sending out holiday cards, etc.? Here's your soft skills to master. I need you to be an active listener. If I dropped a pin on the floor right now, would you hear it? Now, I know we have construction behind us. I know this microphone's a little different, right? I'm not on a headset like this guy is. But when I'm talking to my consumers, I am literally like a gazelle at a watering hole. One ear back, one ear forward. I'm listening intently to all of it. If the cat meows, I'm going to ask the cat's name. If I hear a dog bark, I'm going to ask if it's their dog. It might be their neighbor's, right? And what the dog's name is, etc. You can sway off topic a little bit, but you need to be actively listening to everything, that the sighs, the hums, the screaming in their chair. I hear it all, and you need to as well. Clear communication with them, persuasive speaking, assuming the close, having confidence while you're doing so. Sorry about the sirens. We have construction, 2-lane road, and a fire truck apparently. The ability to emphasize. I can't emphasize this enough to you, right? I have this positive attitude. Your decision making, your self-motivation, your leadership skills are all part of that telephonic call. They're looking for a leader. They're looking for someone to hold their hand tightly and walk them through this sales process. Get out of the chair. Stand up. You are on screen right now, right? You're on stage. You need to perform your play. And it needs to be exciting, and they need to be able to feel what you're feeling, that I'm so excited that I'm able to save you. That's really not sell you, save you. I'm saving you from that call center agent. I'm saving you from that ex-NFL Hall of Famer on TV. I'm saving you. Hear that in my voice, Joyce. Listen to what I'm telling you. I'm a professional. I know what the hell I'm doing, and I'm going to walk your policy and your life through this. Give me your hand. Let me guide you. Follow this. But the active listening is so crucial as we go through this. You need to have your workspace prepared. As I mentioned a few weeks ago, at the end of the day, I need for you to clean your desk. It's not something that we come into in the beginning of our day. It's something that we end at the end of our day. So we can come in and we know that our headset's charged. If it's a wireless headset, we know our workspace is clean. We know that we're ready to plug in and go to work that next day. Once again, we know what plans we're offering in that county. We know how to run rates. Check out networks prior to phoning the consumer. I have my prying questions right in front of me. Do you ever pay anything when you go to the doctor? Do you ever pay more than $9.85 for a name brand medication? Do you have any money sitting in a CD that's earning terrible interest that you're locked into, that you may be able to move soon? prying questions. Is there a spouse I need to be concerned about? Do you, right? I just continue to keep asking questions to allow us both to go from this point of not knowing each other to a point of having comfortability that you are okay saying your name over the phone and moving from one plan to another because I've built this relationship with you. It's not because I cram this policy down your throat. Are you logged into the carrier platforms in the morning time, afternoon, whenever you decide to plug in? You should have your Think agent open. You should have your Ascend app open. You should have these carrier apps up and running, ready to complete an application. The consumer is ready to move. The consumer is asking for help. They have literally reached out to you in some fashion, right? Because otherwise we're door knocking. They reached out to you in some fashion saying, please help me. Understand the psychology of the sales and the close. Getting in the door, the psychology of the marketing. What colors are you using? How's your marketing look? Are you marketing out of love or fear, right? Because it all boils down to two things. We do things out of love or we do things out of fear. Are you scaring that consumer? The sky's falling. Shop your Medicare Advantage. Or are you marketing, I'm a professional, I'm local, I'm a family man, I'm here to help and save you from doing something stupid? Your appointment setting, your event planning, are you sorting versus selling? You can get to a point when you're trying to sell someone that you go, oh my God, how did we just get to this point? I've talked to you for an hour and I'm selling you the wrong policy, or you're a union employee, or whatever it is. And I just explained all this Medicare to you, A, B, C, D, whatever, right? All the way through, and I didn't ask the right questions. I should have sorted you and gotten you off my plate. But instead, we played 14 follow-up phone calls, and then I went through an hour-long presentation with you only to find out that I can't even help you, right? Or help you with that plan. Sort your consumers. Is there a level of interest? Is there a level of need? If those two play out, we're talking. If not, enjoy your day, because we have to move on. There's not enough time to save the world during this annual enrollment period. We can do our best, but we have to sort those that don't have an interest or a need, but may just be lonely wanting to talk to you on the phone. And that happens during AEP, trust me. Show them how to feel. You need to be enthusiastic, especially the first 8 seconds. You are on stage. And once again, these consumers, any consumer, is purchasing their coverage off emotion, not off logic. Do not get into the mathematical equation side of it. Let them know, look, by purchasing this hospital indemnity plan, it's going to emotionally give you this feeling of relief, because now you don't have to pay for your Medicare Advantage plan out-of-pocket costs, right? I'm not necessarily going to go into all the dollar amounts because they don't care. They care about how this plan is making them feel that, thank goodness, I don't have to go into the hospital and have hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars in out-of-pocket costs, because whatever they helped me with emotionally made me feel good. Sorry, guys, I need to speed up just as much. Become a storyteller, okay? If you don't have a story, reach out. We have a story for everything. We've heard it all, but your client needs to hear it all as well. If you need a story or you're lacking stories, go on the Senior Enrollment Solution YouTube channel. Watch Chris's story. That's a good one, right on the life insurance side through AIG Direct. Really important to be that storyteller. The key is, no matter what story you tell, you got to make sure that the client ends up becoming the hero, right? And generally that is on a financial side, that they are able to walk out of the hospital and still take care of their children or their house because they have this meals program or because they have this additional coverage, but they're now the hero out of all of this. Review, download, watch, sales techniques and skills. Zig Ziglar, Joe Girard, one of my favorites. Anything to improve your tips and tricks of getting through that sale and making a connection with that consumer. There's a difference between being kind and being nice. Being kind is just being professional, not cursing while you're on the phone with them or whatever it may be. But being nice is really taking them to heart and knowing that I got you covered. I'm not once again just necessarily selling something. I'm here helping you get through this process in life. Build a relationship, because then you get invited into their circle of trust. Once you're in their circle of trust, you get referrals. Once you get referrals, you get more referrals. But you got to build multiple lines of trust with multiple different people. Improve your closing techniques. Let's get this started, okay? You probably feel so good, Joyce, that this is all over, huh? Chuckle at the end. Make sure that she knows, like, wow, yes, this is humorous, because sometimes either we're going to laugh or we're going to cry, right? Many times in life. And Joyce phoned you about ready to cry. She just can't take it anymore. She doesn't know what the hell she's doing. She's got all kinds of worries and what have you. And we're making her mind at ease to where we can chuckle and laugh about how silly this was, because it's all taken care of now. The first 8 seconds. I cannot emphasize the importance of the first 8 seconds to you. What I've always been telling everyone for many, many years is you are on a snorting bull. And I'm assuming we've all seen some kind of bull riding. How long do they have to remain on the bull? 8 seconds. You fall off the bull within the first 8 seconds, you get no points, 0. You get hung up on in the first 8 seconds, right? What are you doing in the first 8 seconds to obtain credibility? Let them know who and why you're calling, what you can do for them. You do not show any sign of weakness, because it may be a quick rebuttal or a quick whatever, right? F you and hang up. No weakness. It happens. Know that you know more than they do. They are looking and needing your services. They do. They need you. They may not know it, but they do. And understand that perception becomes reality. My perception is, when I'm talking to them, I'm going to close them. And oftentimes, more often than not, it becomes the reality. But you have to make it through the first 8 seconds. And if you can't, you have to change what you're saying. I do not use consumer last names. Hello, is this Mr. Robinson? Well, yeah. Well, hello, Mr. Robinson. My name is John Fallon, and I work for ABC Insurance Agency, and I'm here. Yeah, like, I don't go there. I need to make friends with you immediately. I need to build a relationship with you immediately. And by doing so, we're going to use first names. We're on a first name basis. Hey, is this Robert? Yeah, it is. Hey, Robert, my name's John calling. How are you today? I'm good. What are you calling me about? And at that point in time, we're going to start establishing credibility, the reason why I'm phoning him, who the hell I am, and why I've interrupted his afternoon, his wheel of fortune, or whatever I interrupted within his day. If you cannot make it through the first 8 seconds, you sound like a telemarketer. They do not want to deal with you. They have enough phone calls on their own, and that becomes the problem, right? Even if it is a hot lead that comes across, we still have to make it through those first 8 seconds. Understand your objections. There's only 7 of them, and we are running a little short on time. We have about 10 minutes left, and I have a few more slides to get through. But I need you to understand that there's only 7 objections and what they are, and that you can make it through these 7 objections and continue on that sales process. Here they are. There's only 7, right? The dog ate my homework and everything else falls in to these objections on why you didn't get or why you couldn't. But these are your 7 objections. You're either going to be blocked at the gate, trying to set up an event, right? They're like, no way. Blocked at the gate with a spouse, blocked at the gate with an employer, whoever it may be. What is the nature of your inquiry? You're going to have competition. We already have a plan. We already called Joe Namath. We already whatever. You're going to have issues on price. We can't afford that. I can't afford that. Well, figure it out. Let's talk to a child. Let's talk to a neighbor. Let's whatever. Your timing may be a little off as well, where the consumer feels like they're fine. We're fine. I just called someone, got it taken care of. What the hell did you just do? And I will ask them, George, you have no idea what the hell you just did you? Well, I bought a Humana plan. Which plan, George? HMO, PPO? Do you even know? I need 2 more minutes of your time, George. We've got to get through this, because otherwise you're going to have a rude awakening next year. And I'm going to resell George. Even if it is on a Humana plan, I'm going to resell George. Your meta issues, your cell phone or your computer's dead, there's some kind of technology issue with your headset, whatever. Make your own top 10 most important objections that you're getting in the industry, that you're receiving through your sales process. I'll tell you about a while ago, prior to the Affordable Care Act, when I get on the phone with someone, for whatever reason, every woman I talk to asks me about mammograms. And I don't know if it was because mammograms were just starting off in the industry, that these individuals were like, hey, you know, it's a new thing that my doctor is asking me to do, or if they were just concerned if it was covered on their plan. But I had to go back and listen to what I was stating to them to find out that I was opening that can of worms to have them ask me about that. So if you're getting any objections, you need to start writing them down so we can have a rebuttal and help you have a rebuttal to get over that objection. Have no fear. No fear at all, right? What are you fearful of? Someone's going to tell you to fuck off, hang up the phone on you? You'll be okay. Have no fear. Either you're going to get off the phone with your dignity or you're going to get off the phone with a sale. But I'm not having any fear of what's happening within that call itself. Your introduction, the first 8 seconds, you need to listen, critique yourself on why you weren't strong enough to get over their objection, get over their stall, get through the gatekeeper, whatever it is. Do not get angry. Do not get mad. And never give up or get blown off, right? You know, in some industries, it takes 7 attempts to make a close. 7 no's, 6 no's before you get a yes. You have to ask this way and ask that way and ask this way and ask that way. You have to be able to make it through objection after objection as you're weaving and ducking through that sales process to make certain that we're weaving our way through to the bitter end, that I'm not getting blown off. Hey, can you mail me something? Of course I can. Sure. I'm going to mail a D-SNP agent a MedSup book, right? Because I wasn't strong enough to say, this is the situation that we're in. Predictability is the key. Is your marketing predictable? Do you have a predictable script? Have you asked enough questions to know the consumer situation? Have you asked enough questions to know the right plan that you're helping them with? Are you targeting the right audience with your marketing? Have you found common interests with your consumer? Where are they from? What's their pet's name, right? Are they married, divorced, deceased, whatever? Do you know the grandchild's name, their dog's name, or their favorite color? If you need to phone someone back, and we all know their phones are blowing up, how are you separating yourself? Joyce, I hear that you're busy. I caught you at a wrong time. It's Friday morning. I'm going to phone you back on Tuesday afternoon. When you phone Joyce back, Joyce better be able to remember you. And how are you going to jog Joyce's memory to remember you? Ask Joyce her favorite color. Hey, Joyce, out of curiosity, what's your favorite color? It's tangerine. Okay, Joyce, on Tuesday at 2 o'clock, when I phone you back at our scheduled appointment, I'm going to mention your favorite color to you to help remind you of who I am. Joyce, when I phone you back Tuesday at 2 o'clock, we're going to talk about Jessica, your newest granddaughter, okay? And that will jog Joyce's memory. It's amazing how that works. It will jog Joyce's memory back to our happy conversation that we had on Friday with this enthusiastic sales agent that knows everything that's going to help Joyce. You have to get something to separate what you're doing compared to that call center rep or other agent that's out there just calling, because otherwise Joyce is not going to remember who the hell you are. Joyce, we had at 2 o'clock. I can't believe you're doing this to me. Joyce is like, doing what? We talked for an hour on Friday, Joyce. Do you not remember this? I don't know who the hell you are. I talked to a ton of people. Oh my gosh. Okay. You can nip all of that so quickly because we all have a favorite color. But as you're listening to that call, did you pick up on the dog? Did you ask her the dog's name at that time? So it wasn't so obvious per se. They don't know what you're doing in this, but it's a psychological part of being able to get back in touch with that consumer and to continue off where the conversation where we left off. Do they know you or as something other than your name? Do they know anything about you? Did you mention in conversation, oh yeah, I got 3 kids of my own? Oh yeah, I used to own one of those escorts. Oh yeah, I used to, or yeah, I've been to your city. What a beautiful little town that you live in, right? What do they know about you? How are you getting on the same page with them as opposed to just knowing your name? So we need to set some goals. We need to hold ourselves accountable. We need to measure our phone time. How long does it take for you to get from point A to point B? I get an inbound call to I'm submitting the application, the consumer's good to go. How long does it take? I'm not saying shorten it up. I'm not saying to lengthen it. All I'm saying is how much chatty Cathy time do you have on the phone with them? Because it is one thing to ask them their dog's name, the color of it, etc. But now I got to bring you back into my conversation again. Let them go, bring them back. Let them go, bring them back. It's so important to have that balance of being a friend and yet still getting my information across to them. Are you tracking your activity every day? Did you make your number of dials that day? Did you make it your number of appointments? Did you see enough people to be able to generate enough sales? Did you track and review how many hours or how many dials, how many appointments, how many applications you're taking a day, a week, a month? I hear all these goals. I heard 50 people's goals yesterday about AEP. I want to write 20 apps. I want to write 50 apps. I want to write 100 apps. I'm trying to do 250 this year. How are you getting there? Because if you're not tracking any of this, that last week of AEP, you're not going to have any clue of how many applications you've written, how many appointments you've ran. You have to make certain that you're tracking and reviewing this on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. 2 more slides. I'll get you out of here. Set goals and hold yourself accountable. Can I identify a call that may not be worth my time? And can I move on quickly? I don't want to be rude with them, but it doesn't sound like I have anything that I can help you with because of your situation, right? I can't change your med sup plan because you're cancer ridden. I can't help you, so I need to move on. But in that same breath, we're still leaving as friends because I still want you to refer me to your brother who doesn't have cancer, who I can help with their coverage. Can I listen and present according to the consumer's needs? Can I constantly change my process to reflect new ideas and improve my presentation? Or am I using the same script that I used from 1992? Set and adjust your realistic and obtainable goals. They need to be flowing and ever changing through this process. So let's review. Log into the carrier portals. necessary sites prior to getting on the phones. Be prepared mentally, physically, right? Some agents can work in a robe. Some agents need to shower. Some agents need to shave. Some agents need to whatever it is. And if you are doing more of these video conferencing style leads or video conferencing calls, yes, you need to be more presentable, obviously. Have your replies ready for any stall or objection that you might get. All taken care of. How are you getting around that? I've already purchased a plan. You're day too late, right? Or whatever it ends up being. How are you getting around these stalls? Can you mail me something? No, I can't. Why? What am I going to mail you? Every application, I'm going to fill your box. I'm going to send you 80 pounds of paper, and you're not going to read any of it, George. Conference in with me for a moment and let me share Medicare from my seat with you. Once you conference in, George isn't going anywhere. But you have to be able to get through those stalls and objections, and more importantly, know the difference. Record, critique yourself, and work through the objections to get through the first 8 seconds of that call. Have the ability to control the conversation. Know how to control the conversation without them knowing that you're controlling the conversation. Know how to compliantly enroll the consumer telephonically. I cannot emphasize the importance of this, even if you are a field agent. It is crucial that you know, as before you're on December 6th, having to deal with 82 people that didn't enroll, that you saw, that wanted to close telephonically. Now, I changed my mind, or whatever it may be. You need to make certain that you know and have these applications ready to go. Sorry, we're 2 minutes late. I almost kept this on time. Once again, I'm John Ballett. Thank you for tuning in.